when I come back, but I've already been up for like 4 hours and I'm starving. And Suzanne, you have a guest right now who has some delectable little treats out on a table that I'm ready to jump over and taste. Maybe kale chips.
And it's not
Love
chips
them.
and cake, Carla.
I don't like chips and cake. I like kale chips.
You're well disciplined.
Yes.
Not all of us are, though. Thank you. Vegetables are an important part of any meal. Working veggies into our diet isn't always easy. And Andrea Hollwegner, nutritionist, is back to share some great advice. Nice to have you back this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We don't eat enough, bottom line. What is recommended that we get in on a daily basis?
Well, I like to tell people about the 2x2 rule, and it's an easy thing that anyone can remember, which means eat 2 different types of vegetables at least twice a day.
Okay, you know, in concept, it's just a matter of taking that and applying it. And so you give a lot of great advice to your clients, I know, about how to plan and prepare and integrate it into your meal. And it starts with changing how you plan your supper. I know that when I'm thinking about supper tonight, I'll be thinking about what we're having for meat.
Sure, and most people say, oh, we're having salmon tonight or steak tonight. And what I'd love you to think about is, what are you doing for your veggies? Because the meat and the starch part of the meal actually usually come together a little faster from a decision making. The veggies need a little more love. They need a little more planning. They need a little bit more flavor to really make them come alive.
This is a good example of the love, because this is beautiful. What have you done here?
So we've got a nice roasted vegetable, and we like to do this, of course, in the oven, but our favorite way to do it is even on the grill in a grill basket. And so you can eat these hot right out of the oven, or tonight we're going to be using these just with a nice balsamic vinaigrette as a cold salad.
That's a great idea. So you barbecue those.
We love it.
You've got lots of really good little tools to mix it up and make it interesting.
Especially when we're talking about getting veggies into kids, especially also adults too. It's all about the texture. So if you use a julienne peeler and you peel your carrots and you throw a few of those into the mix, it suddenly becomes a little bit different than big, chunky, maybe more overwhelming textures. If you take a cucumber and you throw it through your mandolin and it paper thin slices them, this might be a game changer for you to actually enjoy a cucumber-based salad.
It's a different way to approach it. And I like, you have a great tip about veggies and when to serve them. And serve them even before you sit down sometimes for supper. Your typical veggie tray gets ignored when you've got a million other things at the table, doesn't it?
Sure. If you've ever come over to my house for supper, you will always see that I'm going to serve some sort of raw veggies, or if it's a dinner, we're going to have a salad before anything is even served, because I just want to make sure people get the veggies in. When we're most hungry, we're going to eat the most, and that's going to be at the start of the meal.
Supersize your veggie portion. How big, when you look at your plate, how much should be vegetables?
When we're talking for an adult, we want to see half of that plate vegetables. So again, coming back to that 2x2 rule, you probably need to have 2 different types of veggies on your plate for supper, or you might not get enough of them. You can imagine if you were steaming Brussels sprouts or peas, you probably wouldn't need a half a plate of them. So if you put a few of those on there, maybe had a few, slices of avocado, tomato. I've got a couple of different dips here that, ways to make things come alive.
Yeah, and the kale. Nutritionists love the kale, but do people love the kale?
I brought in some kale chips, and it's another way to do it. So certainly you can steam it. If this wasn't for you, toss the kale in a little olive oil, put a little crushed sea salt, throw it in the oven and bake it till crisp. See what you think of that instead.
Bottom line is, make a plan for veggies.
Make a plan.
Yeah, carrot sticks and celery just might not do it every night
people
of the
get
week.
bored because they maybe only make one kind of salad. So if you do spinach one night, you do a shredded cabbage the next. The bocconcini tomato basil with a reduced balsamic vinegar is one of our favorites. So simple and so yummy.
It sounds delicious. Thank you, Andrea. And if you want any more information on this, you can log on to Andrea's website, healthstandnutrition.com. Did I get that right?
You did.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to take a break. 7:16 plus 1 after the break. Doctors explaining what's worse for your heart. Hot weather versus cold weather. Might be surprised what they're saying about that. Just ahead.